Jeremy, thanks for being with us, and congrats on the show. Can you tell us a bit about the series and how it came to be?
Yeah, I mean, we had a fellow from Road River Films heard through a friend about the gallery and stopped by, and he was looking through the albums, and he's like, well, hold on, these pieces are so individual and they're so unique to each client. So he's like, you don't see a lot of this. And then it was pointed out to him that by some of our staff that we spent up to 4 years on some of these houses. And he said, well, this is a story that needs to be told. I'd love to see a deeper dive into the workings of how you meet these clients and how they allow you to work in their homes for, extended periods of time. So he's associated with Jim Shockey from the Hand to Man Museum, who has a lot of Indigenous artifacts. So Jim, who kind of backs them, says, I'd love to see that story told. So they approached us about doing, I guess, a little bit of a scripted show, and we just were like, we were so uncomfortable with that. We're not TV people, we're artists. So we said no, but then after lengthy discussion, they decided that they would do a docuseries where it's literally a fly-on-the-wall approach. There's a narrator because we're not necessarily talking about what we're doing all the time, and you get a deeper dive into the lives of our artists and actually more of a true look at their emotions, the people they are, their history, because of the fact that it's not scripted. So it's turned into something that after a little bit of test footage, we agreed we'd do because it was very tasteful. So we were excited to be part of it now, and it's and here it is now coming up to air. So we're excited about that.
Jeremy, for those unfamiliar with coastal carvings, can you tell us a bit about the gallery and the art that's on display?
For sure. My wife and I opened the gallery 21 years ago as my private studio, but then I had so many different trainers and people I'd worked with over the years. We ended up turning into a full-on gallery within a very short period of time. So now we're an Indigenous gallery, so we carry Inuit, First Nations, and Métis art. And it's a really good mix. So it's a very rich feeling when you come into the gallery because of the mixture of all the heritages. And then, at that point, okay, we have this nice mix of art, but then clients came and, a lot of them are moving to Vancouver Island because they have their forever home and they wanted something very personal. So we started offering the service of designing to their requests. And that challenged us because it's, when someone asks you to incorporate music with your indigenous forms, it can be very tricky. So it challenges us as artists, and it made us better, but it also made us very unique in the art world that we're designing custom pieces. That's probably up to 90% of what we do. So the gallery's beautiful, has beautiful art, even artifacts back to the early 1800s, but it also facilitates making people's dream pieces. So.
Right. What role do you think art has in helping to keep culture and tradition alive?
Oh, you know what? So today, and I don't want to get into a big debate over it, but technology has moved us so fast. I think especially since I was a child, not having even a cell phone in school, and now everything is computerized, everything is modern. We have the invention of AI, and AI now everybody's an artist. They can speak to the screen and it becomes a piece of art. So really it's important no matter what culture you're from, especially Indigenous because we're a smaller group across Canada, but any culture that people have today, I think passing on that tradition, passing on knowledge that's not in books, that background is so important to preserve. And I think you'll find that in the Coastal Carving show is there's lots of mentorship. There's lots of people learning directly from the beaters, directly from the carvers. And that knowledge is being passed on the way it was to us as we learned. So that's what makes it relevant today, I think, is that, going back to that era of the craftsman movement where you're making it by hand and you're not just relying on a machine to do it and actually getting the brain power to work. So I think it's more relevant now than ever, even from when we started the show filming like almost 3 years ago till now, just the way society's gone. Everything is instant gratification now, and these things take time to develop and to be passed on. So.
3 years, that's a while to put together. The show's going to be on APTN Lumi. Jeremy, what are you hoping viewers take away?
I would like them, even for myself, so I'll say partly what I took away is we started filming this and I ended up with a huge knowledge of my artists that I didn't have before, because they start just talking about their past or their parents and the struggles and the struggle to preserve their heritage. And, I learned so much. So I think you're going to get not just a story about grand art and the time it takes, which is really important that people know that how much time is invested in these pieces, but you get that deeper dive into the personalities and also the struggle to keep their lines of heritage alive. I mean, I see that through Levi, especially one of my younger artists. His grandmother comes in. I've known her my whole life, but I didn't know the whole story until I actually watched, part of the series, and I'm like, oh man, the depth that went into is very personal. So I think that there's stories that people will be interested in when it comes to the people, not just the art that we're doing.
Well, good stuff, Jeremy. Congrats again on the show, and appreciate you spending some time with us to talk about it.
Yeah, thank you very much for having us.